She did not choose you. She chose the lie you built around her. And the moment you mistook that lie for love, you lost. You thought devotion would keep her. That loyalty was enough. That waking up every morning to tell her she was your world would make her stay. But what you didn't see was how every kiss, every promise, every act of worship made you smaller. And the smaller you became, the hungrier she grew. But not for you. Because in the silent code of female desire, safety is not love. Safety is death. Look closer. Look at her eyes when she speaks of the man who ignored her texts. Look at the way her voice changes when she recalls the one who made her doubt. That glow you could never create. It wasn't cruelty. It was biology. The truth is not gentle. It does not care about your flowers, your devotion, your constant availability. Because what you thought was proof of love, in her body, in her instincts, was the scent of decay. And here is the cruelest truth of all. It was never your love that failed. It was your predictability. And in her hidden language of desire, predictability means extinction. You see, she cannot crave what she has already conquered. She cannot long for what is always there. She cannot desire what is permanently within reach. Her biology does not allow it. The moment she knows you completely, she stops needing to feel you. But there is another man she cannot ignore, the one who terrifies her, even as he fascinates her, the one who lives with a fire that cannot be tamed, a hunger that cannot be controlled, the one she will never admit she craves, because he awakens something she fears in herself. That man is not safe. He is not predictable. He is not her project, her comfort, her furniture. He is danger wrapped in restraint. He is chaos contained within discipline. He is the monster. And if you keep watching, I will show you why she left you for him and how to awaken the monster buried inside you. What every woman craves is not a monster in the literal sense, not a brute, not a tyrant, not an abuser. What she craves is something infinitely more dangerous and infinitely more rare. A man who is both light and darkness. A man who can be gentle, but chooses not to always be. A man who could destroy, but restrains himself. This is what I call the beautiful threat. He is not safe, but he is not reckless. He is not cruel, but he is not tame. He does not orbit her like the nice guy, desperate for validation, nor does he collapse into chaos like the unstable man, driven only by impulse. He stands in the middle, the storm contained inside a single man. And that tension, between danger and restraint, between power and discipline, is the essence of attraction. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the dark hidden side of the human psyche. Most men bury it, convinced that to be accepted, they must kill everything wild inside themselves. They amputate their darkness. They become half men. But the beautiful threat is different. He does not kill his shadow. He integrates it. He knows it exists. He feels it. And because he acknowledges it, he can control it. That is the paradox. The man who denies his shadow becomes enslaved by it. But the man who accepts his shadow becomes master of it. And that mastery radiates a kind of magnetic power no woman can ignore. She does not fantasize about the harmless man who flinches at conflict. She fantasizes about the man who could bring chaos into her world, but does not because he chooses not to. This polarity has lived inside myths for thousands of years. Hades and Persephone, the god of the underworld and the maiden of spring. She is drawn into the darkness, not because it is safe, but because it is irresistible. Beauty and the beast, the monster feared by all, yet adored by the one who sees his hidden restraint. Vampires in countless stories. Immortal predators who could kill, yet seduce instead. Even the mafia romances in modern culture, the dangerous man who walks the edge of violence, but who protects with ferocity. These are not stories about cruelty. They are stories about contained danger. They are about the beautiful threat, the man whose power is not abused, but mastered. Why does this archetype ignite desire? Because arousal requires polarity. Masculine and feminine are opposites, magnetic charges that attract violently when they remain distinct. When you dilute yourself to be soft, agreeable, and predictable at all times, you neutralize the polarity. You kill the current. The beautiful threat sustains polarity by embodying two truths at once. He can be dangerous, but he chooses to protect. He can be cruel, but he chooses kindness. He can walk away, but he chooses to stay. This paradox electrifies her. It keeps her guessing. It keeps her alive. Picture a volcano. The earth trembles because inside burns a fire that could annihilate everything around it. Yet it does not erupt at random. The mountain contains the chaos, holding back rivers of fire beneath a calm surface. That is the beautiful threat, power, restrained but never extinguished. Picture a storm. The skies swirl, the air crackles, the world feels charged with possibility. And then, silence. The storm passes, but the memory of its power lingers. That is the man she cannot stop thinking about. Not because he rages without control, but because she knows he could. And this is the most important truth you must understand. The beautiful threat is not about hurting women. It is not about control through violence, manipulation, or cruelty. It is about the aura of contained danger, the sense that you are a man of depth, of fire, of wildness, but that you control it. A man who is capable of destruction, but who chooses creation. That choice is what makes you irresistible. That choice is what separates you from the harmless man she forgets. And that choice is what ignites the deepest instincts within her. The instinct that whispers, "This man is strong enough to be trusted, dangerous enough to be desired, and disciplined enough to be loved." Why does she crave the beautiful threat instead of the safe man who would give her everything? To answer this, you have to look deeper than culture, deeper than romance novels and modern advice. You have to look at evolution itself. For millions of years, the women who survived were not the ones who chose the gentle poet, the dreamer, or the man who begged for their attention. They survived by choosing the warrior, the hunter, the man who could kill for her, protect her, lead her through chaos, and carve out space in a violent world. This ancient program is still alive inside her. It hums in her blood. It whispers to her instincts. And no matter what society says, biology always has the final word. Think about it. In nature, the predictable animal dies first. The prey that always moves in the same pattern is the prey that gets caught. The tribe that always camps in the same place is the tribe that gets slaughtered. Survival has always depended on unpredictability. So, when she encounters a man who is stable but also unpredictable, who she cannot fully map, cannot fully predict, her biology lights up. He represents survival, protection, vitality. And when she encounters a man who is always available, always responsive, always eager to please, her instincts read him as already conquered territory, predictable, safe, and in the language of female desire, safe is death. Modern psychology proves what evolution encoded. Desire thrives on intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that makes gambling addictive, that makes people check their phones hundreds of times a day. When a reward is guaranteed, the brain stops caring. When a reward is uncertain, dopamine surges. She doesn't crave the man who answers instantly, who drowns her in affection, who is always there. Her body craves the man who makes her wait, who makes her wonder, who makes her doubt. Each message from him feels like a lightning strike, because it is rare, unpredictable, and uncertain. It is not that she consciously wants the chaos. It is that her nervous system is wired to respond to it. Think back to childhood. Do you remember the toy you wanted most? It wasn't the one you already had, lying in the corner of your room. It was the one behind the glass, visible but out of reach, desired but not guaranteed. Desire is born from distance, from tension, from not knowing whether you can grasp what you want. When you become the toy she already owns, you lose her. When you become the toy behind the glass, you consume her thoughts. It's the same with attention. When your attention is an endless ocean, free, unconditional, unlimited, it drowns her. It overwhelms and numbs. But when your attention is a rare drop, given with intention, not desperation, she savors it. She thirsts for it. And she will do anything to feel it again. This is the cruel paradox of attraction. The more you give without measure, the less you are worth. The less you give with control, the more valuable you become. Schopenhauer once said that love is the species' trick, a deception to keep reproduction alive. But he stopped short. Love is not just deception. It is also survival strategy. Her body is not searching for kindness alone. It is searching for the man whose strength means life for her and her children. Nietzsche called it the will to power, the life force that expands, conquers, creates. The beautiful threat radiates this will. He does not need her validation because his life is already a battlefield, a conquest, a mission. And that energy is what she cannot resist. So when you wonder why your kindness was punished, why she adored the man who treated her coldly, why she seemed addicted to the one who kept her uncertain, understand this. It wasn't her cruelty. It wasn't even her choice. It was her biology. Predictability equals death. Uncertainty equals desire. The beautiful threat is not loved because he is cruel. He is loved because he awakens the oldest survival code within her. The code that says, with this man, I live. With that man, I die. Predictability is the slowest poison. It does not kill in a day. It kills in silence. One small act at a time, until what once felt alive becomes a corpse lying between you and her. This is how most relationships die. Not with betrayal, not with a dramatic explosion, but with predictability. You believed that consistency was love, that the more you gave, the more she would stay. So you texted back immediately. You cleared your schedule for her. You gave her your world, piece by piece, until nothing was left that was truly yours. And at first, she smiled. She said she loved your devotion. But soon, something in her shifted. She began to sigh when your name appeared on her phone. She began to scroll while you spoke. She began to compare you to the very men you thought she hated. You didn't notice it, but every time you gave without mystery, every time you responded without pause, every time you put her first without thought, you dissolved a little more. This is the nice guy syndrome, the belief that being endlessly available is the same as being desirable. But it isn't. It's the exact opposite. Picture this. One man spends his nights begging for her attention. He sends 3 texts in a row, pleading for her to respond. When she finally replies, he thanks her like a starving dog receiving crumbs. Another man, the one she claims she hates, barely acknowledges her. He takes hours, sometimes days, to reply. His words are short, even careless, and yet, when his message appears, her eyes light up, her breath quickens. She can't stop thinking about him. Why? Because unpredictability fuels desire, because safety, when given in excess, suffocates it. She doesn't stay awake at night replaying the man who loves her unconditionally. She stays awake wondering why the one who doesn't need her still lingers in her mind. We are told to believe that safety is the foundation of love, and yes, safety builds comfort, security, predictability. But comfort is not desire. Predictability is not passion. Safety is not attraction. When she feels too safe, she does not feel alive. When she knows your every move, she does not feel mystery. When she can read your emotions like a children's book, she does not feel polarity. Desire feeds on risk, uncertainty, tension. And the moment you kill those things with excessive availability, you bury attraction under the weight of safety. This is why she drifted away even when you gave her everything. This is why she complained of boredom even when you treated her like a queen. This is why she fantasized about men who made her doubt, instead of the one who gave her certainty. Because your love was never the problem. Your predictability was. You became too known, too easy, too conquered. And in her body, in her biology, in her instincts, conquered territory is worthless. If predictability kills attraction, then what keeps it alive? It is not random cruelty. It is not shallow games. It is not manipulation. What makes him irresistible are 3 traits, 3 pillars of the beautiful threat. Without them, he is just another ordinary man. With them, he becomes unforgettable. The beautiful threat does not orbit a woman like a satellite trapped in her gravity. He is his own sun. She does not define his mission. She is merely illuminated by it. This is why Napoleon could command armies yet collapse into desperation over Josephine. His tragedy was not conquest, but dependence. The greatest general in Europe begged for a woman's approval because he made her his purpose. And it is why great artists, entrepreneurs, and warriors, despite being criticized for neglect, still remain magnetic. Women complain about men obsessed with their craft, their art, their mission, yet they never leave them. Why? Because those men are driven by something larger than love, something larger than approval. A man with no mission bleeds desperation. His energy collapses into need. His devotion tastes of fear. but a man with a mission greater than her. She feels the gravity of it. She feels the honor of being chosen to stand beside it. This is the paradox. She wants to be your priority, but if she becomes your entire purpose, she will despise you for it. Only a man with a world bigger than her is a man she can admire upward. Most men are terrified of the word no. They say yes to keep the peace, yes to avoid conflict, yes to secure approval. But every yes without backbone corrodes desire, because it reveals need. The beautiful threat does not hand out yeses like a beggar distributing coins. His attention, his time, his energy are scarce resources. And when he says no, it is not cruelty, it is value. Think about it. What happens when you are told no in life? You want it more, you fight harder, you obsess. Each no is an aphrodisiac. When a man can say no without guilt, without apology, she feels something primal awaken. He is not controlled by her moods. He is not swayed by her tantrums. He is immovable, and that immovability excites her. Picture the scene. She starts a fight over nothing, hoping to pull you into a spiral. You argue, you defend yourself. You beg her to see reason, and at the end, she walks away cold. Now, imagine the beautiful threat. She starts the fight. He watches her with calm eyes. He does not rush to explain. He does not plead. He lets the storm pass, and when she least expects it, he takes her by the waist, looks her in the eyes, and kisses her. The fight ends not in exhaustion, but in desire. That is the difference between weakness and strength. One man negotiates from fear, the other acts from power. The third trait is the most dangerous of all, mystery. Most men vomit their feelings, their thoughts, their insecurities, until nothing is left unseen. They believe that full disclosure equals intimacy. But intimacy without mystery is suffocating. The beautiful threat understands Aristotle's principle of potential versus act. The value of fire is not in how quickly it burns out, but in the energy it contains, the tension between what could be unleashed and what is held back. He is pure potential, a storm that could break at any moment, a silence that holds 1,000 words unspoken. This is why a delayed reply to her message can mean more than 1,000 immediate ones. It is why his silence in conflict carries more weight than hours of pleading. It is why she checks her phone, wondering what he's thinking, while you check yours, praying for a notification. Desire thrives on tension, and mystery is tension embodied. Do not mistake this for manipulation. This is not about being cold for the sake of cruelty or distant for the sake of ego. It is about self-mastery. A man with purpose greater than her, who can say no without fear, who embodies mystery and potential. He is dangerous not because he seeks to harm, but because he cannot be owned. That danger is intoxicating. It is why she cannot stop thinking of him, even when he frustrates her. It is why she fantasizes about him, even when she claims to hate him. It is why she despises the man who gives her everything, yet craves the man who withholds. Because deep down, she is not looking for safety alone. She is looking for fire contained in human form, and when she finds it, she will never forget it. Men complain that women test them. They call it drama, manipulation, emotional chaos. But here's the truth. Tests are not cruelty. Tests are polarity checks. Attraction is not built on logic. It is built on instinct. And instinct is always asking one question. Is this man strong enough to follow? Women test not because they enjoy conflict, but because, unconsciously, they are scanning for polarity. They are trying to see if you are a leader or a follower, a man or another dependent child. Every sigh, every argument over nothing, every sudden shift in mood. These are not random storms. They are weather patterns designed to test the strength of the structure you've built. If your frame collapses at the first gust of wind, she cannot trust you. But if you hold steady, calm, unshaken, she feels polarity ignite. Imagine this scene. She starts a fight over something trivial. Maybe you were late by 5 minutes. Maybe you forgot to pick up milk. Maybe she simply felt restless and wanted to see your reaction. The nice guy panics. He apologizes 10 times. He explains himself over and over, pleading for her to see reason. He begs for peace. But the more he negotiates, the more her frustration grows. By nightfall, she turns her back to him in bed, dry, distant, and cold. The beautiful threat reacts differently. He doesn't rush to explain. He doesn't panic. He listens, calm, composed, unshaken. When she escalates, he refuses to match her chaos. He might even smile, step closer, take her waist, and silence her with a kiss. The fight doesn't end in exhaustion. It ends in desire. The difference? One man negotiates from weakness. The other acts from strength. Tests are not cruelty. They are polarity checks. She does not want you to lose the fight. She wants to know you could win it, but choose not to. She tests not because she wants power, but because she wants to trust that you will not crumble when she leans on you. Most men fail because they confuse peacekeeping with strength. They think saying yes, apologizing, or giving in will buy love. In reality, it buys resentment. The beautiful threat understands that strength is not found in domination or shouting. It is found in immovability, the calm center of the storm. When she tests, he does not shrink, he does not bend, he does not plead. He remains who he is, with or without her approval. And that strength, that immovable presence, is the very thing that excites her. Because deep down, she does not want a man who agrees to everything. She wants a man who cannot be broken by anything. You were not born weak. You were not born harmless. You were taught to be. From the moment you could speak, you were told a lie. Be nice, be gentle, don't be too much. And when it came to love, the lies grew louder. Be her best friend. Tell her everything. Show all your emotions. Make her your world. You believed them. And what did those lies create? Not attraction, not passion, but dead zones of desire. Look around. Modern culture has neutered masculinity into something polite, tame, and predictable. Men are told that to be accepted, they must kill their fire, suppress their aggression, hide their ambition, mute their hunger. They become agreeable shadows of themselves. And in doing so, they trade polarity for safety. Not realizing that safety is the slowest poison of all, women say they want this safe man, but their bodies say otherwise. Because attraction is not logical, it is primal, it is the spark between polarity, and polarity dies the moment you erase your edge. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the wild, forbidden parts of the self that society tells you to repress. Most men bury their shadows so deep that they forget it ever existed. But here is the truth. The more you repress the shadow, the weaker you become. The man who amputates his darkness does not become virtuous. He becomes hollow. And women can feel that hollowness. They sense that you've killed the very energy that once made you magnetic. Desire doesn't die because you're bad. It dies because you're incomplete. And when the shadow is dead, so is the spark. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, not a brute of muscle and rage, but the man who creates himself. The one who embodies the will to power, who builds values instead of borrowing them. Modern men traded that will for validation. They handed their fire to others and asked, "Am I enough now?" They sacrificed their hunger for safety. And in doing so, they lost both. The beautiful threat is the opposite. He does not beg for permission to exist. He does not dilute himself to fit cultural lies. He does not smother his ambition to appear safe. He creates. He destroys. He remakes himself. And that fire, that unapologetic will, is what women cannot resist. Here is the cruel irony. You gave up your fire to be loved, and in doing so, you killed the very thing that made you lovable. You tried to become the perfect man she said she wanted. Open, vulnerable, endlessly available. But the more you became him, the colder she grew. Because she never wanted you to kill your edge. She wanted you to master it. And when you buried your fire, when you suffocated your shadow, when you killed your polarity to fit into a safe box, you didn't just lose her, you lost yourself. This is the trap of modern masculinity. Men traded their power for acceptance, their edge for approval, their danger for validation. And in the end, they lost both power and love. The beautiful threat does not make that trade. He embraces his polarity. He integrates his shadow. He unleashes his fire, not recklessly, but with control. And because of this, he is not just desired, he is remembered. You were not born tame, you were made tame. Every boy enters this world wild, fearless, curious, hungry. He runs toward danger, not away from it. He climbs trees, he fights shadows, He imagines himself a king. That boy is still inside you. But somewhere along the way, he was buried. Buried under fear, under rejection, under the endless conditioning of be safe, be nice, be agreeable. You silenced the wild child. You amputated your fire. And in doing so, you killed the man you were meant to become. But here's the truth. The beautiful threat is not something you must invent. He already lives inside you. You do not need to become someone else. You need to strip away the lies until what was buried can breathe again. Think back. Before you knew heartbreak, before you were taught to shrink, you were fearless. You did not need permission to be yourself. You lived with instinct, with energy, with hunger. That child is the father of the beautiful threat. He is still there. You killed him once to be accepted. Now you must resurrect him to be respected. The beautiful threat does not burn for her. He burns for himself. Imagine a refinery, an endless furnace that consumes everything useless and turns it into power. This is the fire you must awaken. Every failure, every rejection, every humiliation, every fear, fuel for the flame. When you burn for yourself, you stop needing her validation. When your fire is infinite, her approval becomes irrelevant. She does not create your value. She simply feels the heat of it when she steps close. So, how do you awaken him? Not with words, not with posturing, but with action. 1. Build a life mission. If you orbit her, you will always be weak. If she becomes your purpose, she will despise you. Your mission must be larger than her. Conquer your craft, build your empire, write your book, train your body, pursue something that terrifies you. A man with no mission collapses into neediness. A man with a mission radiates gravity. She doesn't want to be your world. She wants to be part of a world so vast, she can barely take it in. 2. Practice emotional restraint. Stop vomiting your feelings like a teenager in first love. Stop explaining yourself endlessly. The beautiful threat feels deeply, but does not collapse under emotion. When anger comes, he does not lash out. When sadness comes, he does not beg for comfort. When joy comes, he does not become reckless. Restraint is not coldness, it is control, and control is the highest form of power. 3. Cultivate scarcity of attention. Your attention is currency. If you give it away freely, it becomes worthless. Stop replying instantly. Stop rearranging your life for every whim. Stop pouring oceans when a drop would make her thirst. Attention must be scarce to have value. Each word, each gesture, each touch must feel intentional. This is what keeps her obsessed. Not your constant devotion, but your measured restraint. 4. Confront fear through growth. Challenges. The beautiful threat lives at the edge of his comfort zone, not because he loves danger for its own sake, but because he knows comfort is death. Do what scares you. Start the business. Speak the truth. Face rejection. Build the body. Take the risk. Every time you confront fear, you sharpen the blade. Every time you avoid it, you rust. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the forge. Stop chasing women. Start chasing the man you could have been. You think her approval will make you whole. It won't. It never has. It never will. Because she cannot love a man who does not love himself first. The beautiful threat is irresistible not because he manipulates her, but because he respects himself more than he desires her. His life burns with purpose. His shadow is integrated, not hidden. His fire is infinite, and it does not burn for validation. This is the awakening. To stop living for her and start living for yourself. To stop begging for safety and start demanding growth. To stop being the man who hides his shadow and start becoming the man who masters it. And when you do, you will feel it, the fire returning, the fearless child resurrected, the beautiful threat emerging, not as a mask you wear, not as a role you play, but as the man you always were before the world convinced you to kill him. You want to know why she left you? It wasn't because you were unlovable. It was because you were unfinished. Awaken the beautiful threat, not for her, not to win her back, but because the alternative, living as a half-man, living without fire, living in predictability, is death while breathing. Choose the fire, choose the danger, choose yourself. Desire is not fair. It does not obey logic. It obeys economy. And in the economy of desire, the rarest resource is not money, not gifts, not promises. It is your attention. Think of attention as currency. The more abundant it is, the less it is worth. The rarer it is, the more priceless it becomes. When your attention is free, unconditional, and endless, she will spend it carelessly. When your attention is scarce, measured, and intentional, she will fight for every drop. This is the dark economy of desire. Scarcity creates value. Uncertainty creates obsession. Modern neuroscience confirms what history already knew. Intermittent rewards trigger the strongest cravings. It is the same principle that keeps gamblers hooked, that makes social media addictive, that compels you to check your phone dozens of times a day. When she knows exactly what she will get from you, her dopamine system flatlines. But when she does not know, when there is tension, mystery, unpredictability, desire surges. This is why the message that takes hours to arrive is more powerful than the one that comes in seconds. This is why the kiss after silence is more intoxicating than the kiss after begging. This is why the man who creates uncertainty is remembered, while the man who guarantees everything is forgotten. But here is where most men fail. They confuse mastery with manipulation. Manipulation is lying, deceiving, pretending. It is control born of weakness, and it always collapses. Mastery is different. It is restraint. It is control born of abundance. It is the ability to give without needing to give constantly, to step back without fear, to let her crave without panic. You are not denying her love. You are training yourself to value it. And in that discipline, you become the man she cannot ignore. Delay responses. Not to play games, but to show that your life is full, that your world is larger than her texts. Create space. Do not smother. Allow silence. Allow her to wonder. Desire lives in the gaps. Let her chase. Attraction is not sustained by your pursuit alone. It thrives when she feels she must earn you. Remember, she already has endless attention from social media, from admirers, from men who orbit her. If your attention becomes just another flood, it drowns her. If your attention is scarce, it becomes sacred. Machiavelli wrote that rulers keep loyalty not through constant generosity, but through the balance of hope and fear. Too much certainty breeds contempt. Too much neglect breeds rebellion. The secret is tension. Applied to desire, this principle is timeless. She must feel secure in your strength, but uncertain in your availability. She must know you could give her the world, but not at the cost of yourself. This is not cruelty. It is strategy. It is mastery over your own impulses, so that she never confuses your devotion with desperation. So, understand this. Love is not destroyed by giving. It is destroyed by overgiving. Desire is not killed by affection. It is killed by predictability. Attention is currency. Scarcity makes it priceless. And in the dark economy of desire, the man who masters his own attention becomes the man she cannot stop craving. The greatest illusion men fall for is believing power lies in holding on, that if they grip tighter, give more, chase harder, they will finally be chosen. But the truth is far sharper. Every desperate grasp only proves that you are a slave to what you fear losing. The man who chases becomes predictable. The man who clings becomes invisible. And the man who begs for love becomes unworthy of it. But here lies the paradox. Power begins not in possession, but in release. The ultimate authority belongs to the man who can walk away. Because when you no longer need her attention to validate your worth, you become something rare, untouchable, sovereign, free. You are no longer a beggar at the gates of affection. You are a king deciding who enters your realm. Think of it this way. The more you chase, the faster she runs. The freer you are, the closer she stays. It is not cruelty, it is nature. Desire feeds on mystery. Attraction starves in captivity. This is why philosophers and strategists, from Machiavelli to Nietzsche, spoke of power as independence. Machiavelli taught rulers to make loyalty a choice, never a demand. Nietzsche spoke of the will to power as the art of becoming who you are, without need for approval. Both point to the same law. Freedom creates magnetism, and this is the transformation every broken man must undergo. You began this journey as an emotional beggar, craving her texts, her validation, her crumbs of attention. But the rebirth happens when you decide that your time, your energy, and your soul are too expensive to spend cheaply. This shift is not about arrogance. It is not about pretending you don't care. It is about truly not needing, about standing so firmly in who you are that whether she stays or leaves, you remain whole. When you walk away, not in anger, not in games, but in peace, you ignite the most dangerous force a man can wield, self-sufficiency. You become the beautiful threat, the man who could have her, but doesn't need to. The man who chooses rather than waits to be chosen. And this is why women gravitate to him, because freedom is magnetic, because sovereignty is rare, because in a world full of men begging for attention, the man who can walk away is unforgettable. So, here is the final revelation. Power is not in winning her. Power is in winning yourself. Every chase ends in exhaustion. Every grasp ends in emptiness. But the man who releases, who transcends, who walks away, he is the one who never loses. Walk away, not for her. Walk away for you. Not to prove a point, but to become the point. Because when you need nothing, everything begins to need you.